Hello y'all, I am back again for another video, and this is part 2 of why not to let the narcissist come over. And to be honest with y'all, I think part 2 is gonna be even more interesting and enlightening. My intention originally was just to do a part 1. However, when I ended that video, I said, oh my goodness, I got more. This video is going to have some serious story times, things that have happened to me, and giving you more information on why not to let the narcissist come over with real live examples. Real live examples, y'all, are so helpful, and they help navigate you towards your future and a better life. So here I go. Why not to let the narcissist come over is this reason. The narcissist, sociopath or psychopath, they genuinely do not want you to have what you have. And when I say have what you have, you don't have to own it. And this particular spirit that's in a narcissist, it comes from a root of insecurity and jealousy, and sometimes they don't even realize that they have this spirit. Some of them do. Anyone that's harboring hate and ill will, they know that they're harboring that in their heart. However, some narcissists on the outside, they always say, well, they want people to do the best they can. However, sometimes they're unaware and narcissistic and they don't. So I'm going to give you some real life examples. And I'm going to go back to many years ago. Many years ago, I messed up my credit. So I ended up renting. I was very blessed to be able to still rent, considering how bad my credit had gotten. So I rented from a place, resided there for approximately 10 years. 5 of those 10 years that I lived in this privately owned big building, I actually had what you would call the penthouse unit. It was an older building. However, I lived on the top of the building. In that particular building, it was only 2 penthouse units, and I had one of them. And ironically, I ended up managing that property for 5 years of the 10 years that I lived there. So that was a major blessing. So I'm telling this story time so you can understand what I mean by the narcissist doesn't want you to have it. Narcissistic people have a lot of mixed emotions, y'all, and a lot of it's coming from their own insecurities. There will be things that you won't notice. So if there's a sister or brother, you may not notice that every time they live someplace, they usually are living with people and their name is not on the lease or the property. You don't really notice that because as empaths, when we hang out with people, we don't be tripping off that kind of stuff. We put you in one or two categories. You either responsible with your life or you irresponsible. So as an empath, I'm not really looking at if they name on it, if they name not on it. I just know they pay their bills, they cool with me, we hang out, they good people. That's how I look at things. However, I learned in time to look at things a little bit different. And the reason I learned to do that is because of the narcissistic things that narcissists and narcissistic people would say. So I can remember when I was staying in this property 10 years, this particular person said to me that, she didn't really like the building. The neighborhood didn't feel right to her. It was pretty quiet. It wasn't a neighborhood where there was a lot of malls around. I mean, I had to drive to the nearest malls. It was just kind of an isolated area. It was comfortable, but over the years, I outgrew the place. There was some things I didn't feel comfortable with. Like before I moved out, they had a coffee shop down the street at the gas station, one of those mobile coffee shops, and the ladies were part nude in there. And I didn't think that was a good environment or a good neighborhood for my children to be in anymore. I mean, you got people borderline walking around naked at the gas station at this portable mobile coffee shop. And that type of atmosphere brings a lot of pedophiles and predators in the neighborhood. I mean, people that would kidnap and harm children. So over the years, your credit improves. You pay off things, things fall off your credit. So I remember this particular person saying to me that she didn't like the building or whatever. So, you just remember what people say. You think they're saying that you deserve better. So many, many years later, going to, I would say, 2016. And y'all, I'm one of those people. When I'm making a big change or something going on and I got a big project going, sometimes you just don't hear from me. That's just how I am. That's just how I have a little anxiety, so I got to get it done. I ain't got time to be chit chatting. I got a big project. I want it done in a certain amount of time, and I don't have time to be chit chatting on the phone. I got to get this done. So that's just how I am. And I'm one of those people, you don't hear from me during that period, and I just show up with the item. Okay, you ain't heard from me. I roll up with my new car. I done moved or something like that. So that's just how I am. So, okay, so I was there in that particular situation, and this particular individual, which was a sister, by the way, not my biological sister, but this sister, you know, basically didn't like the building. That's her right to say that. I mean, I had invited her over to an event. She didn't come. So that's fine. It was one of those situations. I go to her house, she don't come to mine. So that's another reason to keep narcissists out of your house. It's a one-sided situation. You go into their house, they never come into yours. And in those situations, you stop going to their house. But this video is not about you not going to the narcissist's house. This video is primarily why you need to not let the narcissist come over. But that's one of the reasons. They always want you getting dressed, using your energy, going to their shit in their house so they could show off. And because that's what narcissists do, y'all. A lot of them inviting you over to show off. Now, empathic people, they inviting you over to include you in their life. It's a different type of invite, okay? You will know the difference. You just will. You'll feel that energy. So, 2016, I moved into an apartment which was actually smaller than that penthouse that I was renting, okay? And so, like I said, when I made that move, I stayed to myself. However, even though that was a smaller apartment, it was a better neighborhood for my children. Okay, I got my children out of the big city where a lot of crime and violence was coming, higher numbers of crime and violence. However, it's violence everywhere, even in the suburb. It's just if you live in the United States, there's violence everywhere, no matter where you go. So I was getting my children out of what I thought was the bigger violent scenes, and it was just growingly or constantly growing in violence. It was getting worse and worse. And that's just how major cities are. So, like I said, 2016, I moved into the smaller apartment. Very cute little apartment. I actually miss that apartment sometimes, y'all. I don't miss it enough to want to move back over there or in there. However, it was easy to maintain. All the rooms were pretty small, really cute. I miss my bay window in the kitchen. There's certain things that I had in that little bitty tiny apartment that I don't have here. However, for what they were charging for the square footage, and I didn't have no garage, I didn't have more than 2 restrooms, I didn't have a lot of square footage, I didn't have an upstairs and downstairs, it just wasn't worth the money. I could get way more for the money. And so that's what I did. So 2016, after being away for a while, I talked to this particular sister. She found out I had moved, and she began devaluing the place. And not the place per se, the city I moved in. Saying things like I was in the Boonies, that was too far. She couldn't picture herself living out that far. And I'm in a city. I mean, I'm actually living within the same county that she lives in. And remember, where I live, the cities, several cities and many cities are compounded in one county. It's not like where I'm from, where I was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri, where the counties are like within a big city. It's a little different where I live. The cities actually are compounded within one big county. So she's mentioning this, the Boonies or whatever, and I'm saying, well, it's really not that far. This is actually not the Boonies. This is just a smaller city than where you live. I even had to point out to the sister that she no longer lived in the major city. She had actually moved into another city. So I had to remind her, this big city that you say you like living in, that you used to live in, you don't even actually live there anymore because you moved. It's just that I was further south. Okay. So she had moved south, but she was like one of the first cities from the major city where her and I had both lived. Not together lived, but we had lived in the bigger city where it's like 500,000 or more people. Okay, so she mentioned this, the Boonies. So the reason I'm telling this story is this sister is cool, y'all, but I'm giving you an example of how even subconsciously people sometimes don't want you to have what you have. Okay, so the reason not to let the narcissist come over, you got to relay this story into narcissism. Okay, just picture this being a narcissist or narcissist thinking this way. So this sister is actually expressing when somebody say they wouldn't live where you live and they just found out where you moved, they're devaluing your upgrade. But remember, this is also the same sister that was saying when I stayed in the one particular place 10 years that I ended up managing for 5 years, she didn't like that place. So there's the mixed signal right there. You don't like this place I live in because that's not good enough. But I moved out of that place and now I'm out here in this better area where there's schools down the street. My children can walk to school. There's a grocery store up the street. I can actually reside out here, walk at night if I wanted to, and feel safe. There's plenty of lighting. I can actually catch Ubers and choose not to have a vehicle. There's so many more options where I'm at now. Okay, so the narcissists, don't let them come over because they don't want you to have it. Now, the reason I'm telling this story, I want to show you how far that energy can go. So when a narcissist doesn't want you to have it, even though this sister was not in my home, that's an energy that's coming in. Because somewhere she don't want me to have it. That's why it's devalued. And I lost that place. Within 6 months to 9 months of me having that conversation with her, I lost that place. Due to my own fault, it was a rental issue, being behind on the rent, some racist management took over, discrimination, it was all of that. It just was bad. Ultimately, that particular property worked it out with me, and I was able to pay my bill off in a 4-month period, which left me without an eviction on my credit, which is a wonderful thing. And this particular sister devalued that. She devalued, well, if I was you, I would have stayed in a motel. This was after I came out of homelessness. She devalued that. And I said, well, you would still be homeless. Because at the end of the day, the state we live in, ain't nobody renting to you. When you got anything that even looks like an eviction on you that's unpaid, and they even changed the regulations to where even if you pay the eviction, most people will not rent to you until 2 more years. So they want any evictions to at least be 2 years old. However, you want to move somewhere now, right? So the best deal would be to pay that off, work it out, sleep your behind in your car. Because see, the thing is, when you go homeless, what wasn't a priority needs to become a priority. So I'll do some episodes on how to get out of homelessness. I just thought of that. That may be something you will enjoy. So the narcissist doesn't want you to have it. So, okay, if I let my ex narcissist in here, remember, narcissists are competitive by nature. Empaths, when we go into people's house, we just happy that they inviting us over. We going to be around the people and stuff like that. Your nature is not as competitive because you have the empathy and the ability to be happy for people. So my ex narcissist, which is a male, of course, ex boyfriend or whatever you want to call him, he moved to a real tiny place. So the thing is, if I was to let him come into my place, he wouldn't want me to have this. Because first of all, my place is bigger than his. This is how they think. And see, once you get to the point where you can kind of think ahead and know how they are, once you learn from them through their conversations and things, then you'll understand the way they think. They don't want you to have it. And the reasons they don't want you to have it sometimes is it doesn't play into their narrative. So remember, a lot of narcissistic people talk about you behind your back. You're a single mom, you're a single dad, your kids are going to be all criminals. Y'all going to end up back in St. Louis and everybody going to be on welfare, getting $100 each. Y'all going to be back in the projects. You're not going to be able to maintain this expensive city on the West Coast where you're at. And narcissistic people, they're planning your demise behind your back. And when I say planning your demise, they're not going to do anything. A lot of times they'll loan you money to help you maintain your stuff, but they're still saying behind your back, you're going to ultimately have the ultimate failure. This particular sister, while I was homeless, even advised me of my future. She said, well, I guess you and the boys gonna end up back in St. Louis on welfare. And I'm thinking, bullshit. No, the hell we ain't. And so I got off that phone call. There was another phone call. She called me homeless. She said she didn't want to hear no more of my homeless stories. And use these type of people to motivate you. Because sometimes with these type of individuals, they're not full-blown narcissists. They just don't, they have some narcissistic attitudes. And these are people that just really don't give a fuck about you in the real sense of the word. They're showing you they're not your family. Your failures are your failures, and their complete focus is on themselves. However, what did I do about those situations? When the sister called me homeless, she said she didn't want to hear my homeless sad stories. When she predicted that me and my boys would end up back in St. Louis on some freaking welfare. This is the narcissistic behavior coming out. They're telling you what's been on their mind the whole time. And also they're showing you that they're not good planners. The only thing I had lost was the apartment. I hadn't lost my kids. We hadn't lost my health. I hadn't lost my jobs. I actually had gained a new job on top of the one I had. I hadn't lost my furniture. All my things were in storage. I had a vehicle. I upgraded to a better rental vehicle. So I was constantly upgrading through homelessness. I had a cousin back in St. Louis that at any point in time that I could not take this situation any longer, he was willing to let me move to the county and the suburb that he was in, not just myself, but my kids. However, I don't like to burden my family. And like I told my cousin, I got to clear it up here first. I can't come there and be a burden to you and have this, have a potential eviction on my credit. If I'm going to come back home, cousin, I got to come with my rental history straight. So I got to stay here and take care of this and prevent this eviction from showing up on me, because these people are trying to work this situation out, because I am just too middle-aged to destroy my credit. I just can't do it. Nobody's going to rent to me. So my cousin understood, and I'm happy I made that decision, because guess what? That particular cousin that I love so much, I could just see me now holding him on my lap when I was a teenager. I love him so much. So that particular cousin now moved to Las Vegas and is doing his own business. So as an empath, we love not using people. We love not taking advantage of people because we don't want to stop their growth. Now, that particular cousin, I turned him down for the help for that, but I did take his help for another situation because I could have used the help when I had a relative that passed away. So ultimately, the reason not to let narcissists come over is they genuinely, whether it's conscious or unconscious for them, they don't want you to have what you have. It's always these mixed signals. This place ain't good enough, but then when you move out to what they call the Boonies, that ain't good enough neither. Now, this particular sister, at this point, she's grown because people grow, and she shows more joy for what I have. You got to remember, people have flaws, y'all. Ain't no perfect people. And we didn't talk for a couple of years. So that's the way I do things. I mean, you want to call me homeless, you want to share with me your prediction that I'm going to be in welfare in one of the most dangerous cities in the United States, which is St. Louis, Missouri. You can have all those predictions. But while you're predicting that bullshit, I'm going to be not talking to you temporarily so I can make sure that the shit that you predicted don't happen to me. Because the only way any of that stuff is going to happen is if I'm on the phone with you and not taking care of my business. So I'm giving you a tactic of how to do things with certain people that you do want to keep in your life. But ultimately, narcissists don't want you to have what you have. They don't want you to have anything in the real sense of the word. And this is why. Another reason narcissists don't fully want you to have it. For one, you're not their family and you're not a supply source. And you're not somebody they're going to be living off of. So the people in their families that they're living with or cohabitating with that are supply sources for them, they want them to have that stuff so they can benefit from it. But with the narcissists that I'm around are narcissistic people, if they're acting narcissistic at a certain time, they may not want me to have what I have because I am not a supply source. I ain't getting ready to move them in. I'm not getting ready to take care of them while they retire. I'm not going to be wanting to roommate with them. I prefer to live and reside with blood relatives. I just do. All my life, I've helped people that were not blood relatives, but they were like adopted to the family, a stepdaughter, stuff like that. And so I've helped people that were not blood related, but usually they're blood related or they're blood related to my husband or boyfriend or something like that. There's still a blood connection, even if they aren't directly blood related to me. They blood related to somebody I'm close to. So that's just my preference. That's how I roll. That's how I've been my whole life, okay? So with that being said, if you one of my children, if you my niece, nephew, say I got grandkids, you're one of my grandchildren, you got somewhere to go. You can come to grandma, mom, or your auntie's house. So that's how I would roll. So like if my siblings had children, I have a brother that has a son. So my nephew would be welcomed here. It's my brother's only son. So if my nephew needed somewhere to stay, he got a place to stay. Now, I never told him that, but he would find that out if he was in a situation and had nowhere to go. He got auntie's house to go to. Okay, so he lives on the college campus in another state. So, and he is close to his parents. When he goes back home to visit, he stays with my brother and my sister-in-law. So that's how that works. So that's just how I roll. So ultimately, narcissists don't want you to have what you have. And the energy of that in the universe within a year or more, you could end up losing that place because it's an energy. You want people coming in your house and that's on the phone with you that's wanting you to have what you have. And I believe this one particular sister has improved on that. Now, why was she able to improve on that? Prayer life. Prayer life will better you. You're most likely to see your flaws with a better prayer life. Okay? And unfortunately, or fortunately, you can love people that sometimes don't want the best for you. However, you got to know to stay on top of your priorities, okay? And that was just her opinion of what would happen. I was going to end up in St. Louis on welfare. I mean, that was just her opinion because in somebody else's mind, they could see sleeping in a car with your children as being the worst nightmare on earth, when actually it was an improvement coming. I came out of the situation better than what I was in before. So let me think. Gosh, I should have wrote a list, y'all, because that was one reason not to let narcissists come in your house. Oh, another reason not to let them come in your house is they're coming there to talk about you when they leave your house. So, like for me, I don't put up curtains, okay? And if I can on my thumbnail, I might, because I've been doing my thumbnails. YouTube has changed the editing process. So I can't have that one still photo on there the whole video. I would have to use my editor app to do all that. I got a lot of stuff I got to get together with my YouTube, but I don't want to get so focused on having a photo up on the whole video to where I stop uploading. That won't help me because you got to maintain your subscribers and keep doing videos. So narcissists, a lot of times they want to come in your house. Oh, she don't put curtains up. I have vertical blinds. I like a sleek look. I don't need all that hoarding crap hanging from the curtains. And they may judge that you have a garage and have no car. She ain't put curtains up. She ain't got no couch. And a lot of narcissists are hoarders, y'all. So, a lot of times don't let them come over because, and a hoarder don't have to be somebody that's literally hoarding. I don't mean literally, but if you somebody that every single spot in your place, the window, that spot, everything got to be filled with something. That's the hoarder spirit. It ain't no spot. It's just like I got a parking spot and I had to ask neighbors and others not to park in it because I like to actually walk through that spot. Just because a car is not in that parking spot that I'm paying for, I love to look out my window, see it empty, and I like running through my parking spot when I'm getting ready to do my walks. I love to see it empty. I love when there's no car there. I can see the trees and stuff like that. But hoarders don't get that benefit. They can't have a parking spot that's empty. Everything got to be filled with some bullshit. All the windows got to have curtains. You ain't gonna find all the cabinets got to have shit sitting on it. They may not be full-blown hoarders like the show, like one of those hoarder shows where shit stacked to the ceiling with rats and mice running around. They may not be that extreme, but it's the hoarder spirit. So if you ain't got that spirit, if you have a couchless living room, even though you got a bookshelf, you got sofa chairs, you got a desk, you got tables, you got mirrors on the wall, you have magazine racks, you have lamps, you have vases, you have artwork on the wall, you got plants, you got all this stuff in your living room. You got a rug, a decorative rug and stuff like that. You got costly items, you got a candle, rack. You got those type of things in your living room. However, because you don't have a couch, the narcissist is coming over saying, oh, She's in poverty. Another reason not to let narcissists come over is they're actually, I don't like this term flying monkey. I like to say helpers of prior narcissists. So they're people that keep in contact with prior narcissists and sociopaths and psychopaths that you have gotten rid of and got out of your life, and they're coming over to report to them people. Let me see. Oh, another reason not to let narcissists come over is some of them will have you set up and have you robbed. That happens more than you think. Most people that rob your house or break in, they've been in your house, they know the layout, they know when y'all gone and when you home. So those are complete snakes, and they will set your ass up. Another reason not to let a narcissist in your house is part of what I just said. You don't want a narcissist to know your particular bedroom window, the layout. You don't, when someone comes in the home, they know the layout of it better. Yeah, they can look from the outside and kind of figure out the back door and stuff like that. You know, my narcissist probably could figure out which back door may be mine, but it's much easier for him to know it and figure it out when he come in. Okay, so keep that in mind. Another reason not to let narcissists in your house is you'll be surprised how many of them may be into witchcraft and voodoo and things like that. That's an extreme reason, but you just never know what people are into. However, that witchcraft and voodoo wouldn't work. This is a praying house. However, it's just best not to let it in. Even though you think the spell work wouldn't work on you, it's just a negative energy to have. Even though they little fake ass spell may not work on you because you're a praying man or woman, you may have some funny bad luck for a week. Okay? You may almost get ran over or whatever. So those are reasons to be careful of bringing narcissists in your home. Another reason not to have a narcissist in your home, you know, I just was naming the bad luck. You know, they could be in the witchcraft, something like that. But spell work won't work on you if you're prayed up. However, it's very dangerous still to have someone in the home doing that. Another reason not to have a narcissist in your home is it is a distraction for your business activities. A lot of people that have a lot of company and narcissists, especially narcissistic company, they're lacking in other areas in their business activities. They ignoring their light bill, or the phone ends up shut off because they didn't stick to their payment arrangement, things like that. Another reason not to have a narcissist, sociopath, or psychopath in your home is they are your enemy. They just are. They're not truly your friend. They're not truly your associate. They're truly an enemy. Another reason not to have a narcissist in your home is it ain't bringing money in the house. Okay. These are not people that are productive with you. They're productive for their own lives. So, like, for example, my ex narcissist, he has an additional income, he has a good job, he has a place. He's very productive for himself. And it's not a gold digger spirit, whether you be a male or female. You're looking for people that are producers that want to come together as a team, because that's how we make it in this society. If you come together as a team, you can save more money. It's more beneficial to you. So it's not productive. It's not bringing you no money. This narcissist is not going to support you and help you start an online business. They're not trying to help and support you if you want to get your real estate license, if you want to get your forklifting certification, you want to get your construction permit, you know, things like that. They're not productive as a team. They're only productive for themselves, if that makes sense. So you want to move into situations and in environments where you're bringing people in the home that are producers, and you benefit them and y'all benefit. You benefit them and they benefit you. Because, like I tell y'all all the time, empaths have supply too. We just treat people better, but you do have supply. So, if I get a great boyfriend and he hires me on with this company and pays me twice the amount that I'm making at my current job, he's supply. Empaths have supply too. This whole term narcissist supply, yeah, they have it, but their motive is different and they have ill will. They're not going to treat people right. But empaths get the same stuff narcissists do. If narcissists use people to move in their homes, empaths, we move in people's homes all the time. It just so happened we wasn't using them or trying to move in their house. We wasn't manipulating them. We wasn't plotting on them. But empaths are asked to move in people's homes all the time. But the way they got the blessing and the supply is not the same way that the narcissist got it. The narcissist got it through manipulation and ill will, and the narcissists are moving your house knowing damn well that they hate you. As empaths, we not gonna do that to you. We not gonna move in your house if we hate you. That is the difference. So you want to bring people in your home where it leads to some sort of financial great outcome. Even if it's not financial, say it's just spiritual. This person has a praying life and they invite you to religious events and things like that. That's a benefit. So you want to bring people in your home that's beneficial. Another reason not to bring narcissists in your home is they refuse to remove their shoes in your home if you ask them to remove their shoes. These are people that are not supportive of your clean outcome that you like. Another reason not to bring narcissists in your home, and I think I might have touched on this in part one, but I just thought of it again. The bad mood that they have because of their mood swings and dysfunctions, and that brings a bad energy in your home. Another reason not to bring narcissists in your homes is you just deep in your heart, you don't trust they ass. Another reason not to bring narcissists in your home is you feel like you gotta watch them all the time. I don't like having somebody in my house where I gotta watch them. I like to have someone in the home where I feel like I can turn my back on them. I don't want to feel like your mood swings are so extreme. You gonna poison me, stab me when I ain't looking, or something like that. Narcissists, they might steal your keys. So be careful with that too. You know, narcissists coming in your home, stealing your keys, making a whole set of keys, and you come home one day and they sitting up in your living room and you feel like you're in a Fatal Attraction flick. So things like that. Gosh. Oh, goodness. That's why I had to do a part two. Another reason not to bring narcissists in your home is they're in a lot of chaos and arguments. So when they're not around you, they're getting into it with people. They're at bars having drunk fight disputes. They got a lot of female or male supply sources that have threatened them and threatened their life and things like that. And another reason not to bring a narcissist in your home is my ex-narcissist. He was in a situation where years ago when he broke up with a supply, he kind of bragged and in some sense to me enjoyed the fact that he knew that she was in this big 5-bedroom house alone. So he enjoyed the discard and the memories that he had of her leaving her in her big house alone, knowing that she had no real family around, no children, and no visitors. He told that story to me several times on how that particular supply was just in this big old home alone. Oh, and he also pointed out she was always in the dark. So She may not be in that situation now, but the narcissist is always going to remember her in that situation and be able to feel like he's in some better position because he saw her at her miserable point, and she was at that miserable point because she knew him and he was there. So it allows you, when you don't have the narcissist in your home, you can grieve without them around and not be bothered with that. So ultimately, y'all, do not have narcissists in your home. Keep them out of your home. I hope that you genuinely enjoy part 2. And if I ever were to think about any other things, I'll add on a part 3 if I think about it. Sorry about that noise. I was getting ready. I had my remote to tune in. You know what I'm getting ready to tune into. Listen, y'all. You know what I'm getting ready to do. You know what I'm getting ready to do. So sorry about that. That was the wrong. You caught an advertisement, y'all, before the music began. So I love y'all so much. Don't let narcissists come over. I gave you plenty of reasons why to not let them come over. I gave you part 1 and 2. And if I think of any other reasons, I'll do a part 3. Because I love y'all so much. Please leave a comment. Thank you so much for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. And tune in for more with Advanced Insight. Thank you. Bye.